Hi everybody and welcome to the channel. This is where I share my insights. And today I'm talking about what to do when life turns the screws on you. I call it when life gets righty-tighty, you get lefty-loosey. Stick around and I'll unpack it. There's a lot of information which leads us to believe that a thought creates reality. I have heard this about the law of attraction, that our thinking creates reality. But in my journey, I have come to understand that a thought is a symbol of reality. Very much like I am a symbol of reality as an individual. And I've also learned that like a wooden cross or a rosary bead or a Hail Mary or an incantation or any graven image, those symbols do not contain power. Nor do they create. Nothing in the universe appears to be created as if it was assembled like an artifact, or a car is assembled from parts. The universe doesn't appear to have been put together like that. It grew from a single atom or a single particle, or from nothing to this tiny speck to an amazing amalgamation of complexity, which does not seem to have, like each individual part does not seem to have its own causality. And the entire thing is cause and effect together. So I have pondered this, quite a bit, like, I have to be very careful what I think because it's creating my reality. But thoughts come from the uncreated or the unmanifested. A thought is a form. It's a thing, and all thinks are things, and persons, places, and things do not have power. Aside from the entire power and energy in the entire cosmos. Does an individual have power? Of course. But that power is not different than the power, capital T, capital P. If a thought had the power to create, there were times in my life I thought I wanted to die. I would have died instantly, right? But I didn't. It's almost like 99% of my thoughts never manifest into anything. That's because a graven image can't do anything. Images can't move. Reflections can't bite. Symbols cannot create. That's because nothing is created. It is begotten, not made, of one being with the substance of all things. See, we have this backwards. Reality is unmoving. unchangeable, yet noticeable and recognizable. And not separate from the reflection. Completely one with the reflection. Yet it moves first. My being, my presence, all of that is me, but yet goes before me. I, as the symbol, have no power. I, as the form, have no power. But I, as the unmanifested, I, as the formless, I, as the connective substance of all being, have all the power, all the knowledge, all the safety, all the peace, all the joy, all the money, all the opportunities, all the things. So are we to be careful what we think? Are we to be careful with what we say? All that does is perpetuate a sense of paranoia, doesn't it? It perpetuates a sense that you are walking around eggshells. You are on pins and needles. And I think what it is it's not letting go. That's another one I love. Just let go. You are being let go. If you're hearing a message like this, you are being let go. I don't know how I beat my addictions. I don't know how I overcame my individuation. I don't know how I lost my sense of separateness, believing that I have this independent causality aside from the causality of the entire cosmos. I was freed from that. By whom, you ask? By myself? By asking, who am I? Or the very question, who am I, is the answer? See, I think we have to stop fooling ourselves that anything that appears out there has a power over us. A creative energy. We are not creative beings. There's no creative beings, plural. We're not manifesting. I love it. I'm going to give you some techniques on how to manifest. You just have to think more positive. Okay, now I'm anxious because I'm doing it poorly. I'm being myself poorly. I'm becoming myself poorly. No, friends. You aren't manifesting anything. Nor am I. We have this backwards. We are becoming the unmanifested, the unknown, the so-called uncreated. We're going back home. Well, we never left it. You see, a thought is this invisible world that sits on top of truth. And when there's no thought, there's no problem, there's no thing, there's no nothing. And the undergirding piece, which passes that understanding, which goes beyond the thinking that the thought creates the reality, brings you back to reality. It's the vicious circle. See, you're stuck in a glue trap. That's the way I think of it. The reason why this is fresh on my mind is because I caught a rat in a glue trap. I live in an old house. I live in Florida. It's hot. Sometimes rats get in your house, so you put glue traps there. I know that's a cruel way to do it, but I put it out of its misery when I catch it. And the more you thrash against the truth, which is you are here and now, and that's about it. And you're taken out of the undergirding, the underlying flow, and you're taken out of that and into the world of thought. It hurts. But it's the psychological hurting. It's thrashing against the flow. It's believing in graven images. It's floating in a sea of symbols, which represent something we can't see, touch, smell, taste, or hear, but can know. You see, when we hear people love to toss this around, be still and know that I am God. Those words sound like they are spoken by some distant being. If you want to ask the question, who am I, and you get no answer, be still. That's right. Be still. Be silent. You won't ask that question anymore when you experience the silence, the inner stillness, which clears away all this misunderstanding. And to think that there is one cause and one effect, one desire that is known. And it appears that life turns the screws on you. I call it, when life gets righty-tighty, I get lefty-loosey. The thing is, life brings you to this irreducible point. Where you have no choice but to surrender. No choice but to give in. It's this feeling of being, come out with your hands up, you're surrounded. You are surrounded by yourself. You know, in those old detective movies, come up with your hands up. Come out with your hands up. We've got you surrounded. See, that freaks a lot of people out because they think that that surrounding nature is to be feared. But I say it is that you are embraced by it. You are in a glue trap, but you don't need to escape. You just need to stop wiggling. And I don't know how that happens. Other than you'll recognize in those situations when you can't do anything, you know, that sick relative's in the hospital and you can't do anything. They won't even let you in the room. And the only thing you can do is to take your mind off of it. And there you go. Take your mind off of it. That's not a metaphor for sitting there and rejecting your thoughts. It's a literal distraction. You see, if your friend were suffering from his or her own worry, you'd say, let's go get a cup of coffee. You would take their mind off of it. You would distract them. You would bring them to some other activity other than hovering a light over it. See, you're in a blind spot. The mind is in a blind spot. And the more focus you have on your problems, the more the problems seem to be inflaming. Wanting, for example, is the very thing that keeps us from experiencing this blissed out state. You might have to want to die first. You'd rather die than experience this thing called life. That's a good place to be. Because there is a kind of death. A death to thinking thoughts create reality. This nonsense. That reality is created. And that you have a choice to control your thoughts. And you have some kind of choice to bring in what you like and what you don't like. Like, life is this potpourri of choice. No, you're in a glue trap. Where are you going to go? How are you going to choose from a glue trap? From the glue trap, everything comes in. You can't help it. When you're stuck on here and now and the power of that total surrender and naivete, you can't help it. Because you are it. And part of it is a symbol that represents a more substantive truth. It's amazing how easy it is when you're surrounded, when you're stuck, when you're choiceless. When you're fused together. You're fused together with what was, what is, and what is to come. And none of that is not you. Yet, not your fault in the ways that we think. It's about returning to the infancy. The only thing an infant knows how to do, and I don't even think they know how to do this, is to cry when they are hungry. To spit up when it's time to vomit. To coo when they're at peace. See, all that sounds like expressiveness. A baby just expresses itself. Has no idea that out there is different from whatever is being expressed. A baby has a singularity. Yet, from our perspective, a baby can be squashed just like that. A baby doesn't know. A baby is innocent. So they'll scream and shit in church. They don't know. They'll swallow the Hope Diamond. They don't know. When does this ever change in a human being? Never. And to return to that bewildering state seems naive to the people who are busy adulting and controlling the universe. But that's the state of liberation. When a baby needs something, they cry. And before they cry, their needs are known. And you are no different. Your cries are known. Your desires are known. They're not private desires. They're not private thoughts. They're not private anything. See, the process in a baby is a complete unity. They feel the hunger, they cry, they get a breast in their face, they are fulfilled. That's simple. The question then becomes, who's parenting the parent? Why does the parent offer the breast? Sometimes a mother doesn't want, leaves the baby to die. But you know what? I think we're doing pretty good. The infants are doing pretty good at surviving simply by crying, making their needs known, or better yet, expressing themselves innocently. Could it be that a thought is simply just an innocent expression from an ignorant individual whose cries are known by the universe? Oh, I think so. I think so. Could it be that easy? Yeah, the Zen master would say so. I drop fart when I drop fart. I poop when I poop. It just happens. And a thought is a generative process of the so-called individual mind. What are you creating? You're creating the same thing a baby creates, a fuss. And it gets fed. And so do you. You're going to say, well, that's because his mommy feeds him. Well, who's mommying the mommy? What if the mommy dies? The universe somehow steps in with a new mommy. What about those kids who don't make it? We're not talking about those kids. We're talking about these kids. These babies whose needs are known and whose secrets are not hid, whose thoughts are not private, and whose expressions are universal. And that to me is very comforting. It's comforting to know that the parent is me and the child is me. And I can trust that whole thing. I can trust that my needs are known. By whom, you ask? By me. I know my needs. I express them. And they are fulfilled. All in a mysterious way. Our self and other become magically intertwined, as they always have been. Where there is no hunger, no more sighing, nor is there any pain. for the former things have gone away. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, and a new Jerusalem. You see? You go back to the crib, the place of comfort, the place of innocence. Come up with your hands up. Come out with your hands up. You're surrounded. You're surrounded by yourself, your truth. And what you feared was simply a symbol, a reflection. That which has no power over you. If life turns the screws on you, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. If you enjoyed my insights today, please check out my blog. It's called MyMorningMotivator.com.